Welcome to another special edition of JMC Live Interviews. Today we're interviewing the Daughters of Ruth. Now, you will remember the Daughters of Ruth from the last year's interview, and we're doing a follow-up just to see how things are with the graduates of the program, checking in with the new Center Director, Brandy Morris, and more. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We have Brandy Morris, the Executive Director of Daughters of Ruth. She's going to talk to us a little bit about the emergency shelter program, the mentoring program, and how her graduates are doing. Thank you, Brandy, for coming.
Thanks. I want to start off by saying that Daughters of Ruth is a 501c3 nonprofit faith-based organization. We are the first shelter of our kind in Ross County. And I actually don't even really like the word shelter because I think it has a negative connotation to it, and I think it just kind of gives people, it might give people the wrong idea of exactly what we do here. We are so much more than a shelter. We absolutely love the people that we deal with. We have a great staff, a great board, and we just all work in collaboration with each other and the networking agencies around Ross County to help change lives. You know, we are affecting lives on a daily basis, which in turn is affecting the community. You know, once we can get someone off the street and turn them into a productive citizen, it's a win-win for everybody. And so at the Daughters of Ruth, it's really important to let people know that the kind of work we do here. When we first get a resident, which is on a referral basis, they'll come into the shelter. We do drug testing. We're all about recovery here. We're not actually a drug program, but we can help you to take the steps to stay in recovery. So once a resident will come in, we then basically go from there and start building a care plan. The care plans, are done on a weekly basis, and it's basically just setting goals. I will usually set them a couple goals as far as, you know, getting their life back on track, and then sometimes there'll even be an emotional goal set, like holding each other accountable. You know, if you can have somebody hold someone else accountable, then they're going to be more than likely to hold their self accountable. And so that's what we try to do here. We do have 4 shifts throughout a day. Each person at the end of their shift will write something about the resident. That way, the staff can be in communication with the problems, with the solutions, with the programming that we do here. That way, they can work together to better an individual. We also, ask them to get into some form of counseling. We believe that homelessness, like addiction, is a symptom. It's not the problem, but it's the symptom of an underlying problem. And we want to get to the bottom of that problem, because there's no sense in just putting a Band-Aid over something when you can get in there and do surgery and fix the person for the rest of their life. And that's what we try to do here. We are a small facility right now, so we're definitely hoping to grow and prosper. That I would say would be our future goals for Daughters of Ruth. However, even though we are only an 11-bed facility, we don't turn anybody away per se. If we don't have a bed available, we can still, give them the resources that we have on hand. We will allow them to come into the shelter, into our garage where we keep our storage, and they can get food, they can get clothing. If they can't find clothing, We can write them a Goodwill voucher. So even though we don't have a bed, we still don't turn our backs on them. We still try to, use the resources we have. If we could refer them to a different shelter, then we'll try to do that.
Exactly, and that's one thing that makes Daughters of Ruth so different, is getting to a point where you see a need, you not only meet the need, but you exceed the need and find out, what is really going on with the next directions with what people really need. And Daughters of Ruth has had how many graduates so far from the program?
To date, we have had 25, we have helped 25 women and 23 children. Out of those 25 women, half of them have jobs or continued education. Over half have stable housing. So actually, we do understand that we're not going to be able to win every soul. That just goes along with any type of social work. But we are very proud of our statistics because we know, the numbers show that we're doing something right here. We're doing something that is working, that is clicking in the individuals that we help, to not only want to better their lives for themselves and their children, but to just bring up their self-worth. We have women empowering women. And when you have that passion and that drive inside of you to help homelessness, to help women in transition, you're going to see results. And the results we see here are amazing.
So let's talk a little bit briefly about the mentoring program. How's it evolved and changed throughout everything so far?
Well, we're fairly new. So when we first started, like any business, we were still ironing things out. We were trying to find our niche. Not to say that things, weren't happening correctly. No one just really knew exactly, what direction to take. And I think once everybody got, rooted and grounded in the program and what we foresee for the people that we help, things started running, more smoothly, of course. In the mentoring program, which is a big part of what we do, it's a pivotal moment in a resident's life when they get matched with a mentor, and that mentor can guide them and give them direction and help them to complete the goals that are set forth. And how we do the mentoring process is, once I get to know the staff, because we do ask you to at least work a couple shifts here, before you actually start to be a mentor. And the reason we do that is so, we can get to know you as a person and know your characteristics, know your strengths and your weaknesses. And then we also, as staff, will know the residents' characteristics and personality and strengths and weaknesses. I also pray about it. I pray. If I think somebody's going to be a good match, before I actually do the matching process, I'll pray about it and just ask the Lord for guidance. And we've had great results with the mentoring program, with the matching process. I go to the resident. I ask them, how they feel about so-and-so being their mentor. I go to the mentor and ask them how they feel about so-and-so being their mentee. And once everybody's in agreement, we just sit down, we do a mentoring packet, and basically just go from there. And then we, ask the mentor to fill out like a contact log, like a report log, just to, show what they're doing with their mentee. We do ask them to sign on for 3 to 6 months, which is really minimal because the expectations is a lifelong friendship. So 3 to 6 months is minimal.
And touch briefly on faith. I know faith is a big portion of the program.
Yes.
How does that work in here?
We are a faith-based organization. However, we also know that the Word of God could either help or hinder someone. So by no means force it onto anybody. With the past residents and the present residents, most of them want the Lord in their life. And it's not, it's really, you know, we don't discriminate. If you're a Christian, Catholic, Baptist, we don't discriminate. We just know that from experience, you know, having a higher power, having the Lord in your life is life-changing. And we just want people to experience what we've experienced, what we know. And so the ladies, you know, ultimately have, it's their choice. You know, if they want to start attending church, you know, if they want to get into faith-based programs, it's really ultimately their choice. But, I mean, of course, we encourage it.
And what would you say as a closing remark about Daughters of Ruth? What would you like everyone to know about it today? From those that are maybe homeless or maybe someone who wants to volunteer, how would you explain that right now?
We are a fairly new organization. We don't have any government funding right now. We're hoping to get that in the works. We are in need of money for just, you know, day-to-day operating costs. We are in need of absolutely any type of donation we will accept. I basically tell people anything you run out of at your house, we run out of the same stuff because we are, you know, in a house living environment. I want people to know that you can't go wrong with Daughters of Ruth. Everything that we do in this program is to help change lives. We want to win souls. We want to better people so they can have a better life for them, their children, their family. Once they change their mindset, if we can just change one thought process, then that'll affect another, and affect another. Once that happens, the people that are around them will start seeing a change, and it'll start affecting them as well. So this is not only helping one individual, this is helping families as a whole. This is helping a community as a whole.
And that's it. It's about taking one person and changing, transforming their life, not just for a short period, but a new life-changing habit. Daughters of Ruth is real and is really changing lives and is bringing people into the kingdom. It is getting people set free and setting them away from the captivity of addictions and homelessness and setting them on the right tracks of getting education, putting them in new homes, and a whole new way of life. It's a life-changing experience. This has been an amazing interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, guys. We're about to do a couple of interviews with prior residents of Daughters of Ruth. Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone. This is a continuation of the Daughters of Ruth follow-up interview. We're sitting here right now with Bev, originally from Portsmouth, and for those of you who may remember her from the first video we did, she had a relationship where substance abuse and the boyfriend's part was the problem, and she just got to the point where she was tired of it all, and that's when she left with absolutely nothing. She ends up homeless, and for 5 months before she came to Daughters of Ruth, this story from what happened last time and even now, she has since moved out of Daughters of Ruth in December, and I would like to welcome Bev here, seeing you again. Remember seeing you speaking at One Night Without a Home and then doing our interview. What's been going on with you since you left Daughters of Ruth?
Well, basically, I was able to get back into school, and that has been a full-time job. But I'm happy to be back into school. And I managed to get my son here as well, so both of us are back in school and back on track. I mean, things are normal for us now. And pretty much that's it in a nutshell.
That's it in a nutshell. What would you have to say about Daughters of Ruth and what they did for you?
Well, I haven't made it a habit of being into shelters, but the one or two that I have been into treat you more like cattle. Daughters of Ruth is really different in all aspects. One, they go out of their way to help you. A lot of ladies come in with emotional baggage. When I was in Portsmouth, I didn't know what to do with the baggage because it was constantly being filled. When I got to D.O.R, or Daughters of Ruth, they counsel you, they help you, and little by little, I was taking mine out to the curb for trash. They counsel you, they go out of their way to help you. And now, you know, I can call out here, and if I have a problem or I need to talk to someone, it's always someone I can talk to.
So you got stable housing now. You're in full-time college. How long you got college left?
I have approximately half a year.
Half a year. So half a year in college, stable housing, had some counseling while you're here at Daughters of Ruth, graduated the program, and now on a successful track of life.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? There'll be more interviews. Stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. We have Kimbra here, who found herself here at the Daughters of Ruth because of a short time back in November from a stay in prison. When she was released, though, she didn't have any money. She didn't have any place to go. And here in Ohio, I know from working with ex-convicts and those that have misdemeanors and felonies, programs are not as great as they could be. And finding a job is next to almost impossible. The only thing that was on her mind were her kids and her recovery. Because she wanted a better life. She wanted to, as what a prison or a jail is supposed to be, a rehabilitation thing. But is it really like that? What is the life after getting out of prison? And you're about to find out. Kimbra, thanks for coming.
Okay, excuse my language, it was hell. I got out November 2nd and November 9th. I didn't have anywhere for me and my two kids to go. It seemed like all these doors were being shut in my face. Applied everywhere. Couldn't get any help because of my felonies. There is absolutely no help if you are a felon in Chillicothe. But I just kept at it. I couldn't give up because of my kids. Came to Daughters of Ruth, and it took a long time. It took me months for anything to even start happening, but it did. Because I kept at it, and I kept clean, and I just kept bugging people to give me a job, and I ended up with my home 3 months later. 2 jobs. My kids in a stable place. I'm home every day with my kids. They're not bounced around my family members. I don't have people that don't know them taking care of them. I'm not out selling stuff out of my house for drugs. I mean, it's been a humbling experience. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't trade one day of anything I just went through for anything because it was worth it all.
So now you have your own place, your kids are in a sound place. So what's the future look like for you?
Bright.
Any plans?
Oh, I have lots of plans. Before I left prison, I made a goal list, and I had both sides of the paper filled. I'm halfway down the first side of the paper, so if that tells you anything.
Well, you can see that miracles do happen in the United States. You don't have to go to a third world country and feed the homeless. You could do something right here in your local community. And I realize there needs to be more of a heart for those who have gotten out of jails and prisons and giving people a second chance. I realize there are times where some people fall the wayside and make mistakes. I understand that. But here's a testimony of a woman who was determined to not let her mistake keep her back. and allow Jesus Christ to bring her to the next point. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back. We have Dorothy with us now. She was in addiction for about 20 some odd years, and pretty much in a situation where she was stuck in a drug-filled environment where she just got to the point where you would say she's sick and tired. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but drug addiction, drug problems, things like that causes people to end up being homeless, whether it's their fault or not. These are things that can really hold you back in your life. So, Daughters of Ruth in February. She completes her program in April. And she has an amazing story here that you need to hear about on how, not only how God can change someone's life, but how someone who has been involved in addictions can overcome. Dorothy, thanks for coming.
I came to Daughters of Ruth February the 16th. I love it. This is where I would tell women to come, because you got a great program here. It helps you. You get out in life. I got my own place. I got into church. I got saved. I love my pastor. I love my my friend Brandy. All the people I love so much that's helped me. That got through where I'm at right now. I wouldn't have it any other way.
You can hear that, her life has been changed by the power of Jesus Christ and set her free from addictions. Yes, she may have temptations. Yes, she may have problems, but she's on the right track. It's something about Daughters of Ruth. Something about the Lord Jesus Christ himself being involved in the women's lives and the counseling, the mentorship, things that have happened. You want to talk a little bit about your experience here? Like, what do people do for you? How do
Oh
they help
my
you?
gosh. It's like they only had to tell me one time to do what I had to do, and that's what I did. I accomplished, got my home, got me, I want to get back into school, but that I ain't did, and I got into church, and I don't know, I don't know what I'm leaving out, but something's not, but anyway, I did everything that I set out to do, and Brandy gave me a chance of life, and I love her to death. I would never, never let, that's the person you ought to go to at Daughters of Ruth. It's just hard, she gave me a chance of life.
And see, listeners, viewers right now today, that's the thing, giving someone a second chance in life. I don't care how dirty, how filthy, how far gone someone has gotten. It could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be prostitution, it could be crime. It doesn't matter. Jesus Christ is the answer and can set people on the correct path. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We have Tasslyn here, who came to Daughters of Ruth because of overcrowding at a family member's house. And I know this from experience. I've seen it in Texas, I've seen it in Florida, I've seen it in California, I've seen it right here in Ohio. These are considered people that are homeless, but the regular world may not consider them homeless because they're living on someone's couch. They're living on the floor. They're living in a car or something. And she got to the point where she just couldn't find anyone else to turn to. And she successfully completed the program here of Daughters of Ruth. And the story that you're going to find out today from her is a side of homelessness and a side of what God can do that you don't normally hear from. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. See, in my story...
Yeah. It's tough.
Alright. When I came here to Daughters of Ruth, I was like in a fantasy land. And I always wanted to live off of welfare and enjoy my son's life. Well, I couldn't do that when I've been here. So the staff and volunteers at Daughters of Ruth came and got me and helped me to reality. And reality is a great place to be at.
Exactly. And so what did Daughters of Ruth do to help you?
Well, when I first came in, they gave me like chores and stuff, and it's, yay, chores, which I've been there. But I got sat down, they discussed career plans,
care plans, everything, you name it. They helped me get back in college, to get my career going, and mentored me. And I love my mentor, of course. And they got God in my life, which I love to death. And if it wasn't for the staff and volunteers and Jesus, I wouldn't be here today.
Exactly. So, how does a mentor work? How does that work for you?
Well, like Lori is my mentor, and she comes and helps me with my problems, everyday life problems, which we all encounter, like going out looking for jobs, which I have got a job now.
Mm-hmm.
I got a home coming. Can't wait. But they just help you and talk, and it's everything that you discuss with them is like what you discuss with the counselor. It's all between you and them, and that's it. Don't go no further than Daughters of Ruth.
So, from your opinion, what do you think's different about Daughters of Ruth from anything else that's out there? Because I know there's other people that say they want to try and help or they want to do something. What do you think sets them apart?
What sets them apart is one, Daughters of Ruth is more hands-on. They help you more. I noticed a lot. And the others, they just bide their time and wait. And waiting is not a game to actually do, but patience is the main thing.
Exactly, and that's the one thing that does set Daughters of Ruth apart here is the hands-on, coordinated efforts to try and actually see someone succeed in life. Because you can't just put someone in a facility like they're cattle and, you know, get government money or get local community help or volunteers and whatnot and say, you're doing the greatest thing in the world, but then what happens when their stay is done or their time is over? Some people get to stay longer, some stay shorter, some succeed, some fail. But if you can honestly, at the end of the day, sit down and say, we've done everything we possibly can do, we've asked all the questions and seeked out all the people that can assist, you'll see more success stories like this. We'll be right back.
Like you've heard in the previous interviews, this is the epitome of what we do at Daughters of Ruth. Continued education, job seeking, recovery, and helping to change old behaviors into positive behaviors.
Well, guys, this has been the Daughters of Ruth interview. I hope you've been educated on learning what's happening right here in Chillicothe, Ohio. Stay tuned. It's been, this has just been an amazing evening. You'll probably see more updates and videos about Daughters of Ruth. Their website is daughtersofruth10.com, and we'll have all their website and their email links listed below. God bless.